Hey guys, welcome back to Jay's Fit Down the Football Podcast. I'm your host Jamie once again here to recap all your news you need to know as far as the NFL is concerned, and also a lot of college football stuff to talk about as well. But we'll get to that in the podcast later today. But thank you guys for checking in, listening in, watching here on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. That's where we're at. So check us out there. Just search us up on those platforms, and you will see us. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share with your friends. A lot to get to today again. But first, Baker Mayfield, former number one overall pick 2018 from Oklahoma, Heisman winner, all that kind of stuff. Picked by the Browns 2018, had some all right years there. Showed some flashes, some glimpses here and there, and then just fizzled out. And, he ended up getting traded to the Panthers this past offseason, right? And they didn't know what they had at the quarterback position as far as Sam Darnold was concerned. And they wanted to bring a little competition there. So they brought in Baker Mayfield, and he just had just been very bad. So he's horrible. And he requested a release from Carolina, and they gave it to him. He's claimed off waivers by the Los Angeles Rams yesterday. So I found it very interesting there. The Rams have lost 6 straight games. They just have not been playing really well this year at all. I know they've been struggling with injuries, with Matthew Stafford being out, and of course losing Von Miller to the Bills, of course, as well. So in free agency, so just not that same pizzazz that they had in that Super Bowl team last year. Don't see it this year. Cooper Kupp, again, injuries, things like that. So the Rams have had their struggles this season, and they go and get Baker Mayfield, which is very interesting to me. Mayfield this year has thrown for 1,313 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions with a 74.4 quarterback rating. Not very good. And he got benched a couple games this year after just the poor performance, and again, along with firing Matt Rule, and the Panthers just going through a complete change and rebuild as they're trying to turn around their franchise. And so Mayfield was part of that, one of those last parts of that cleaning house, so to speak. So he is now on the Los Angeles Rams roster, and they take on the Las Vegas Raiders tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Again, you have both teams who have been kind of struggling this season, trying to find their footing. Las Vegas with Josh McDaniels coming over his first year being head coach, and he's still trying to find that their identity. Even though Devontae Adams has been playing really well this year, as expected, and Derek Carr also. So they're just looking to, and Josh Jacobs, I need to mention as well. So they're just trying to find some type of identity as the season is, winding out here. Never say never, because the AFC West is a little, other than the Chiefs who really sit at top, the rest is kind of just up in the air. I think your best team after the Chiefs are the Chargers, who are at 6-6, but they're 3 full games behind the lead for the AFC West in that division. So the Chargers also have been struggling this year a little bit. So the main thing here is for the Raiders, they want to get a win here on Thursday Night Football. And the Rams also want to get a win just to see the playoffs are pretty much out the picture for them. So just trying to see what they have, and I feel like this move to get Baker Mayfield, it's crazy. It's interesting. Your quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, of course, he's on that deal. He's been hurt, with the concussion, but you don't really know how many years he has left in him effectively. Because to win in this league, you need efficient quarterbacks. You need quarterbacks that are going to be able to come out there and, give it, that are going to be able to produce for you on a consistent basis, week in and week out for a whole season, right? So you got like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, right? These type of quarterbacks, as the game is kind of fading away from your Matthew Staffords, from your Matt Ryans, from your Aaron Rodgers, from your Tom Brady's. Even though Tom Brady's always going to be Tom Brady, he's always going to be great. But still, that type of quarterback, the league is kind of fading away from it. And the sitting ducks, as we like to call them, are not as popular as they once were, and everything's mobility now. See, that's why I see a lot of these teams drafting these young quarterbacks. They're trying to get them in, trying to get them acclimated, trying to get them to come out on the field and produce for them at a high level. Justin Fields is one example. He's been He's been getting better as the season's gone along, as the Bears have changed some things offensively for him, including more QB runs inside that offense, also to get his feet going, get him out there. And, it's something that I really think is helped him a lot. He actually had his best statistical passing game, on Sunday, as he went for 280 yards, 20 of 25 attempts. They threw a couple interceptions, but otherwise his best statistical game passing. Offensive line held up great in pass protection for him. So you see the improvements going there with Chicago, right? But again, that just brings it back to the point, for the Rams, you have John Wolford and you have Bryce Perkins, as your two quarterbacks. Obviously Baker is more experienced and he has a somewhat better resume than those two quarterbacks. So if you trot Baker out the next couple games just to see what you have over the last couple games here of the season, as you really only have 4 left. Can it be? Do they keep him back, long term, just to back up Stafford? When Stafford comes back, and then if Stafford struggles next year, do you insert Baker into the lineup? It's a lot of weird things with that. I'm not sure what the Rams' long-term end game here is with the signing of Baker. But again, in my opinion, I think that he's done. He's washed. He's done. And it's really amazing to see what somebody that was a number 1 overall draft pick and just 4 years ago, and in that span of that time, it's just completely plummeted down to the ground. It's very disheartening to see. But it just what happens again when you let yourself get a big ego, and you don't want to be a team player. That's what happens, and so Baker is one of those guys that he's going to bring problems wherever he goes, and then adding to the fact that he's just not he thinks he's more talented than what he is, and that's as what a lot of quarterbacks do. And when you have guys like that, it doesn't bode well, because they're trying to do things that they know they're not capable of doing, putting their team in jeopardy. And you can't have those as a coach. You don't want players like that on your team, because they will only hurt you. You need guys who know their roles. They're going to do their roles to execute their tasks to the best of their ability, and continue to just play the game the way it's supposed to be played, involving their teammates, and just being that ultimate leader, that ultimate tone setter for that franchise. And Baker Mayfield is not that guy. He wasn't that guy with the Browns. He wasn't that guy with the Panthers, obviously. So, I just don't know where he goes from here, and if it continues to just plop in the toilet from here on, then you just might just say, his career might be done at this point in time. Just something that it's crazy to think about. But so that's that. The Rams pick him up there on waiver wire. Baker Mayfield. Not sure if he's going to play tomorrow night against the Raiders. Sean McVay hasn't noted anybody that yet, so we don't know. But we'll keep you updated on that as we move along the week here. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been on an up and down roller coaster this year, particularly, just in before mid-season, especially after all the divorce stuff happened with Tom, and, the Bucs just haven't really been a consistent squad this year, but they were able to get the comeback win over the Saints on Monday Night Football, convincingly. They were down 16-3, and Tom Brady, once again, the comeback king as they call him, leads the team to a 17-16 win over New Orleans. So my takeaways from this game are that, Tampa Bay, as bad as they've been lately, they still got a chance. They still got a fighting chance in the NFC South, which is a very poor division it is. Really, them and Atlanta have a chance, to still sneak into the playoffs, even though it's a very low chance for the Falcons. But the Bucs as well, so it's just something to keep an eye on as we move throughout the rest of these last few weeks here of the season. Just continuing to get just fight. The Saints had the number early in the game. They were flying around defense. Offense was playing all right. Dalton was doing okay. But then I guess, as happened a lot this year with the Saints, they just let the other team back to the game, and they just you can see that the lack of talent, some of the lack of there are specific holes on the field where the Saints were lacking some talent, and you can see that, and it opened up some holes there, some spots for Tom to attack and for the Bucs to just work their way down the field and make that comeback win, as he threw the game-winning touchdown to Rachaad White as he bowled into the end zone. They win the game there, so Tampa Bay improves their record. Saints continue to fall in the NFC South standings and far out of playoff contention. So I really do think that. I mean, hey, if they can continue to get some wins to finish out, then I don't think the Bucs are a Super Bowl team at all. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're an NFC Championship team. I think at best they're a wild card this year, just because of the deficiencies that they have on the offensive line and defensively. I mean, they've been okay, average at best this year. So it just depends on how they all finish out the season as we move along here. But they got a big test against the 49ers this week. So you're going to be in San Francisco, who's lost Jimmy Garoppolo. They've lost, Trey Lance, right, to those injuries. Even though word broke out today per Kyle Shanahan that there's optimism if the playoffs are in the picture for San Francisco that Garoppolo could make a return as he didn't have to have surgery on his ankle. So he was able to avoid a very, very complete, serious injury there. So, that's great news to hear for Jimmy. Continue to wish our prayers out to him for a speedy recovery. But great news there. If you're a 49ers fan, I know Nick Winkler will be very happy to hear this news as well. So, but yeah, so great news there for the 49ers. But that's a very slim chance. You don't especially want to rush somebody out there in the playoffs either if they were to make it. And I don't know if that would be the best idea. So, you stick with Brock Purdy, who, hey, he delivered. He had a great game against the Dolphins. I mean, he came in there, did his job. Wasn't trying to make the extravagant play. Just doing what he was told to do, and went out there and make the throws he needed to make them effectively, efficiently. And won the game. Managed the game. That's what he was supposed to do. He came in, did his job, and those are the kind of guys you want on your roster. And when franchises are looking for quarterbacks, whether they already got established one, set now, where this is a vet, he's a 3, 4, 5 year vet, or a 10 or 11 year vet, right? It doesn't matter, you're looking to continue to find his successor eventually because you'll need to. You're looking for guys that, if they need to come in, that they're going to be able to come in, and not try to have a big head and make the big plays and, just come in calm, cool, collected, run the offense the way it's supposed to be ran, and make the throws on time, on target, effectively. And those are the kind of quarterbacks you want to have in your wing on your roster. And Brock Purdy is definitely one of those guys. He was the last overall pick of the 2022 draft. And so the Mr. Irrelevant, right? But I think he was very relevant in his game against the Dolphins on Sunday. He played really well, and it became a big game that, everybody was talking about, Mike McDaniel and Shanahan, but again, that defense showed up for San Francisco there, and they were able to just continue to get after, Tua and those guys and, make life tough on him in that offense for Miami. And, so it was a big win for the 49ers. And I think, this game against the Bucs is going to be a test for both teams. Can San Francisco continue to keep their foot on the gas pedal here and just keep driving, and just manage the game well, don't try to do anything too crazy. Just, for Brock Purdy, come in there. Can you continue to just make the right throws, make them on time, on target, and continue to just run the offense the way it's supposed to be ran, defense, get after the passer, that formidable defensive front they have, that front seven. Can you hold up in the back end with Chris Godwin back there, Evans, all those guys, because these are some, whether you want to say it or not, the Bucs do have talent. They still have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, great receivers, Julio Jones even. So, this it's a big game for both teams, so I think it's going to end up going to San Francisco just from an overall talent standpoint. On the defensive side of the ball, I just think they're a better team there. They've been better this whole season. They've had the number one defensive unit this season, like they've had like the last 5 years. So I think that continues for them, and it's just going to be very important for them to continue to establish that defense, that pass rush, get after you, stopping the run, because that's something that Tampa Bay has also struggled to do consistently, is run the football. So I think they're going to attack that there. D'Amico Ryans is especially going to the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I think he's going to game plan on just stopping the run, get after Tom Brady, that 4-man pass rush, and just play the sticks, keep everything in front of you, and just get home to the quarterback. And so, and offensively, if you're the 49ers, for Brock Purdy's sake, just let him do his thing. As far as have the game plan, and keep it simple, keep it straight, keep it simple, and manage the game. As far as the Tampa Bay is concerned, well, get some type of rhythm established on offense. Continue to just work and work and work. Got to get a run game established some kind of way. And defensively, can you hold up against those talented 49ers receivers? That's Deebo Samuel against Christian McCaffrey come out the backfield. Because he can run, he can catch the ball too. Brandon Ayuk. Are you going to be able to stop those guys? Because the Saints were able to pretty much, they were able to move the ball very well and efficiently against that Tampa Bay defense. So, I expect the 49ers, who have a much better offensive core group there, to be able to do the same, if not more. So that's something that the Bucs are going to have to be mindful of as they go into this matchup. But I think it's going to be a good game. And I think the 49ers are going to come out on top and continue to win and just keep winning. And I think I think they're a playoff team this year. So in other news, however, the Denver Broncos had another dud on Sunday, 10-9 loss. Just could not get anything going. And it just really baffles my mind how Denver just hasn't been able to do anything at all this season offensively. Defense has played great. They've been getting after the opposing team, and it's just been, but the offense just cannot get anything going. And the Broncos are in a situation right now where they cannot afford for this not to work, because you give Russell Wilson a 5-year, $242 million contract, and when you traded for him, you traded those first round picks, you traded those 3 players for him to come to Denver, be your franchise quarterback that you've lacked the past 4 or 5 years. You've been wanting that franchise QB. You go and trade for Russell Wilson, and he's not producing. He hasn't produced really this whole season. He's not producing right now. Nathaniel Hackett has not been able to grab control of this team. I feel like it just establish something, some type of identity, some type of flow, just some type of sense and purpose. I don't see a purpose in the Broncos the way they play, except for on the defense side of the ball. And those guys on defense are tired of just having to constantly come back on and off on the field, and just on the field because of the offense not being able to get anything going. Not being able to sustain drives, constant 3 and outs, just constant 3 and outs. Not being able to produce any points, barely any points. No touchdowns. So I just don't understand what's going on exactly. The Broncos have been trying to figure that out this whole season. I've had every guest pretty much on this podcast has come on, and I've been asking what is going on with Denver? We don't know. Nobody knows the answer except for the fact that they're just not playing well. It's possible that Nathaniel Hackett gets fired after this season. 1 year, one and done. I just don't see any. The team just looks very discombobulated, and they don't look together. And offensively, Russell Wilson just doesn't look like himself. So I don't know what the issue is, because you can say he's in a new offense. He needs to learn these receivers and how they operate, how they move their hands, and this and that, route running. Yeah, but at the same time, we're past week 13. The season. So at this point, if you're not connected and you're not on the same rapport with your receivers, running backs, like that's an issue, and you're still having these offensive woes and these decision woes as a coaching staff. It's what it doesn't make any sense. So. You're Denver, if they don't get this turned around, they'll be in big trouble, because again, you gave that big contract to Russ. It's just going to be hard to get out of, and so it's like you're not going to put any money really in other positions of need, so that's the thing about the Broncos that I'm really concerned about for them. They just haven't been playing good football this year, and you expected more from Russell Wilson. He's just hasn't lived up to that hype. So again, 5-year deal, $242 million, just going right there. This is what you're getting back. So take with that what you will. And last little sliver here of news for the NFL. OBJ, we all know he was going to either sign with the Cowboys, the Giants, the Bills, or whoever. So he's visited with the Cowboys. That went well, I'm assuming, but they're still skeptical of his injury, if he's going to be able to. They don't know if he'd be physically ready to play any football anytime soon, maybe until the playoffs. So that's why the deal hasn't been signed yet, for what we know. But just the front office is just not too sure about whether he would be game ready. So that's why there's no deal that's been in place yet. So something could happen though, but we're not sure. So that would be something. I mean, honestly, the way the Cowboys just destroyed the Colts on Sunday night. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, they obliterated them. But I just don't, I mean, they really don't need him, to be honest. I mean, you had CeeDee Lamb, 71 receiving yards, 6 catches, touchdown. Michael Gallup had some touchdowns too. Like, Noah Brown's been playing well. So the Cowboys, I mean, they've been playing good football offensively. So I mean, but Beckham would really be a luxury rather than just a need. So that's just something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, again, so tomorrow, Thursday Night Football, got the Raiders and the Rams. You don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. Could be Baker Mayfield, could be John Wolford, could be Bryce Perkins. Who knows? We'll see tomorrow night. Again, so two teams that have just been struggling to find identity. They're going to be going against each other on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, only on Prime Video, where you can find that game. So, in college football news, Deion Sanders taking over the head coaching position at Colorado. Very interesting there after a couple seasons at Jackson State, where he completely turned that program around. I know a lot of people were mad that he left Jackson State, and you came here, you're supposed to build this into the next Alabama or whatever, to kind of have that kind of Nick Saban type of effect on that team, and but I mean, this is my opinion. He did what he was supposed to do. He came in, he put Jackson State on the map. Got those two SWAC championships there. So Jackson State was on the map. And Deion did a great job of leading that team. And so now he's taking another opportunity in Colorado. And he said, either you get terminated or you get elevated, in this position in coaching. So he chose to get elevated. He's got a point. And he wants to. And the thing I like about Deion, man, he's a guy that he's not only just coaching, for the better, for just the sake of the team, but just for the players, because he wants to get them to the next level, to the NFL, and develop them, to continue to develop them into great men in this world, young men, and so. Just developing character and things like that. And if you don't have the character, and you're not willing to put in the effort and the work to get better, those are, you're not going to be a good guy to play for Deion Sanders. He's made that very clear, which is why I like the mindset that he's instilling at Colorado right now. And it's only going to be a matter of time before they're going to be winning. In a couple of years they might be in the college football playoffs. And I don't know. Transfer portal's opening up and a lot of people transferring, and Colorado, I expect to get some transfers here too. So it's going to be interesting over these next couple of months, heading into the offseason, how this all is going to play out for Colorado and Deion Sanders. But he makes a move. He's now the head coach for Colorado, so I just thought that was really interesting there. But that about wraps us up here for Jays for Down today on the podcast, guys. Again, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. That's where we're at. Check us out there. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel. And also make sure you guys check out the Raiders and the Rams on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime tomorrow night as they begin week 14 of the NFL season. So check us back here next time for the podcast. I've been your host, Jaden. Thank you for watching.